Baby, something deep inside me changed today. I finally see things clearly now. For the first time, I'm not looking at you through my fears or what I thought I wanted. I see you through the eyes of who I've become. You went through something no one else could see. You were put in the middle of pain, silence, and confusion. Instead of getting angry or walking away, you stayed. You kept the door open for me, for us. Even when I gave you reasons to leave. You didn't know you were being tested. You were just being yourself. Loyal, brave in a quiet way. Like a light in the storm, waiting for someone to find their way home. I was lost and scared. But your love didn't hurt me for it. Kept me safe. I never told you this before, but everyone thought you would give up. They thought you would leave. They said things like, "She'll quit soon." Maybe I believed it too. Not because I thought you were weak, but because I didn't think I was good enough for someone like you. But you didn't leave. You didn't become someone else. You didn't get cold or mean. You just kept showing up. Even if it was just in your heart, in quiet prayers, in moments when I felt you thinking of me. That was the real test. Would you love someone who didn't know how to love himself yet? Would you see something good in a man who forgot who he was? Would you believe in something no one else could see? You did. You really did. When people are tested, it shows who they really are. What I saw in you was something that couldn't be shaken. You forgave me when you had no reason to. You stood by me when we had no name for what we were. You gave without asking for anything back. You waited without demanding. You loved without proof. Your love scared me because I knew it would change my life forever. I wasn't sure I was ready. But now I am ready. I finally see that everything I ran from was what would save me. You being near you, your light, your prayers. I heard them even when you said nothing. Now that everything has settled, I need to say something from deep in my heart. You passed every test and I failed the ones I put you through. But somehow you still love me. I'll spend my whole life making that right. There were days I wanted to give up on everything. Nights when I'd lie awake wondering if you'd moved on, if someone else was holding the heart I didn't know how to protect. I kept thinking maybe that would be better. Maybe someone else deserves you more than I do. But you know what hurt me more than losing you? Knowing that you never stopped believing in me. Even when I didn't believe in myself. I used to think love was about passion and big moments. But you taught me that love is staying loyal when things are confusing. It's waiting without being angry. It's praying for someone who hasn't called in weeks. It's crying alone but still keeping their name safe in your heart. That's what you did for me. When people asked why you were still holding on, you didn't even have an answer. You just felt me. You knew me. You trusted a version of me that I hadn't even met yet. Now that I'm finally becoming that man, I feel both love and guilt. You saw me as something special while I treated you like you were just an option. You offered me forever while I was stuck in fear. Now I can't stop thinking about all the ways I let you down. Every message I didn't answer. Every time I disappeared. Every word I should have said but didn't. But this is my promise to you now. You will never again wonder about your worth in my life. I was too blind to see it before, but now it's clear. You weren't being tested by me. You were being shown to me. You're the kind of woman songs are written about. The kind of love people pray for. And somehow I got to be the man you chose. I didn't earn that. But I will. I promise you. I will spend every day earning what you gave so freely. You weren't just being loyal. You were being something more. You were walking through fire and still saying my name like a prayer. I was lost and drowning. But when I looked up, even in the dark, your light never went out. Everyone around me is shocked now. They saw what you did. They saw that you passed the test. No one thought you'd make it through. Now they look at me with shame. Not because of you, but because of me. Because they see what I almost threw away. But love like yours doesn't die. It waits. It changes things. It brought me back to life. There was a moment when I sat with my head in my hands, your name on my phone screen, and I couldn't type a single word. Not because I didn't want to talk to you, but because I didn't feel good enough to be heard by you. How could I reach out to someone who had given me the kind of loyalty most men pray for their whole lives, only to be met with silence? I knew what I had done or what I hadn't done. I hadn't protected your heart. I hadn't stood up when I should have. I hadn't fought when you were quietly loving me. But your energy never turned cold. You didn't try to hurt me. You didn't try to replace me. You waited. That waiting wasn't weak. It was the bravest thing I've ever seen. It meant having faith in a future no one else could see but you. It meant loving someone who gave you every reason to walk away. It meant whispering, "I still believe in us," in your prayers while I was pretending I didn't feel everything burning inside me. But I did feel it. Every time I saw someone who reminded me of your laugh. Every time a song played and I remembered how you closed your eyes. Every time I looked in the mirror and hated the version of me that hurt the only person who truly saw me. Life tested me too. And I failed badly. While you were standing in love, I was drowning in fear. While you were building a home in your heart for me, I was closing every door inside mine. I thought I was protecting myself. But all I did was push away the one person who could help me heal. That test wasn't about proving anything to the world. It was about showing the truth of what love really looks like. And you were the answer. You passed the test of time, of distance, of silence. You passed the test of watching me hurt myself and still choosing not to hurt me back. Now the people who doubted you are speechless because you stayed. Not with desperation but with dignity. Not because you needed me but because you chose me. There is nothing more powerful than being chosen by someone who had every reason not to choose you. I finally understand what people mean when they say real love is a mirror. You held up a mirror to my soul that made me face myself. Not with shame but with honesty. I saw a man who had much to learn, much to unlearn, but also much love to give. If you'd still take it. If you'd still have me. I've been carrying this storm in my chest. I didn't realize until now that the center of that storm has always been the moment I failed to honor you when it mattered most. Not just when people were watching, but when your soul was quietly asking mine, "Can I still trust you?" I didn't answer. I looked away. I told myself it was too much, too soon, too deep to be real. But now I know it was too sacred to waste. You were the miracle I mistook for a test. And you passed while I doubted. Do you know what it feels like to watch someone you love walk through fire, carrying your name in her heart like an unshakable promise while you're still trying to figure out if you're ready to be loved that deeply? Shame. It's heartbreak. It's wonder. That's what I feel when I think of you now. Wonder. Because you didn't just survive what I put you through. You grew in the ashes. You prayed while I played games. You grew while I disappeared. Even though I tried to convince myself that maybe you'd forget me, I always knew you were the one I would come home to. I just didn't think I deserved to knock on the door. They tried to shake your faith. They laughed at your silence. They said things like, she must be so naive, or she should have moved on by now. Maybe you heard those voices. Maybe they even made you question yourself. But you stayed rooted in something bigger. You weren't just waiting for a man. You were holding space for a soul to remember who he is. And now I remember. I remember the way you looked at me that night when we didn't need words. The way your energy wrapped around my mess and said, "Come as you are." I didn't understand it then, but now it's the most beautiful truth I've ever known. You passed the test not by chasing, not by proving, not by begging, but by simply being. Being the kind of woman who makes a man want to rise, who makes a lost heart want to lead, who turns pain into poetry and silence into safety. You didn't panic when I stumbled. You didn't punish me with revenge. Even though I tested every limit of real love, you didn't use my darkness against me. You became the light that reminded me who I was before the world taught me to hide. I know now why this journey happened. It wasn't to break us. It was to build us, to make us better in silence, to test our hearts not to fail us, but to prepare us. This kind of love doesn't walk into your life uninvited. It waits, it watches, and then it enters through the cracks when you're finally empty of ego and ready to be filled with something eternal. That's you. You are eternal to me. There were days I thought you were gone for good. I used to check my phone just to see if your name still appeared. I used to replay our old conversations just to feel your presence again. I even told people I was over it, that we were just a lesson. But every time I looked in the mirror, I saw a man lying to himself. Because there's no getting over you. There's only getting honest with myself about how deeply you changed me. You passed the test of love not by being perfect, but by being present. You didn't run when I fell apart. You didn't fight back when I pulled away. You waited not with desperation, but with something divine. I want you to hear me clearly. I'm not coming back out of convenience. I am returning with respect. You are not a backup plan. You are not a chapter one flipped back to when nothing else worked. You are the book. The sacred story I should have been reading from the beginning. But now that I finally opened it, I swear I won't put it down again. You passed the test and now I see it. Every delay was meant to be. Every tear you cried was being counted. Every prayer that seemed unanswered was being planted. And now the harvest is here. It looks like you. It looks like us. It looks like a love that didn't die in silence, but was being brought back to life in secret. Now it's time for me to pass my test. The man you loved is no longer hiding. He's awake. He's here. And he's ready to fight for the woman who waited for him to grow into his promise. So I'm not here just to love you. I'm here to protect what you've built. To guard the sacred temple you built inside your soul, brick by brick, prayer by prayer, while I was off fighting battles that were never mine to fight. I've lost a lot in my life. But if I ever lost you, truly lost you, I wouldn't survive it. So this time, I'm not showing up with empty words or half-healed promises. I'm showing up fully for you, for us, for the love that beat every odd, passed every test, and still dared to hope. If someone asks me why her, I'll tell them this. Because she passed the test that most people fail. Because she stayed when everyone said she should leave. Because she loved me when I forgot how to love myself. Because she prayed when I was too ashamed to ask for grace. Because she is grace. And grace like that, you don't question it. You honor it. You fight for it. You never let it go again. I am yours. Not just in the easy moments, but in every test life throws at us from now on. and this time we pass together.